You know, I can't help but laugh at this one. You know, the CIA, CNN, BuzzFeed, and John McCain were fooled, trolled, set up. You know, this is absolutely amazing. Gee, I wonder what this is going to do to their credibility. You know, the only thing I feel bad about is that Lindsey Graham was left out, and a few other of those wusses up there in the Congress and elsewhere as far as that goes. Well, as most of you probably know, I was busy on this last night. Actually, this whole situation with the supposed, you know, golden shower gate type thing that was supposedly have happened in Russia, and that the CIA had, and that you know, it shows that Trump can be blackmailed by the Russians, etc., etc., etc. Well, I'm not going to belabor the point. You all can look this up now. It's all over. You can see what's happened here. You know, when I first saw that supposed report, and I'm talking about the one with the golden rain, right? I looked at that and I said, this is a field report? This is an analyst report? This is an agent report? No way. No way. And there were some terms in there that people, when they look at that, would, if they're familiar with intelligence reports at all, would go, this isn't real. Where did this come from? And then to find out that it was part of a fantasy, you know, that somebody was putting together, and that it made it into the intelligence community as something they needed to report on because it shows Donald Trump can be compromised. CIA is embarrassed, and it should be. It's like I've said all along, the government needs to be embarrassed because of the cronyism, the corruption, the degradation, the criminal conduct, the treason that these organizations and agencies, you know, engage in. You know, I've meant to bring this story up in the past, and I've hit on it a couple times many years back, but I want to talk about it for just a second. You know, and it really has to do with false flags, but I bring it up because of the embarrassing government things that go on. I was at Tooele Army Depot in Utah, and I was the assistant provost marshal there. And we had, I'm just going to make it real quick, a bomb hoax go down in the south area where the chemical agents are stored. And I showed that I was the first military officer on the scene. I proved that it was a hoax. I arrested the suspect who did it. And all it was a fake bomb is what it was on a chemical storage igloo. And there's some other things about that, but the point is I went up to the EOC and told them it was a hoax, and was basically told that they were going to play it to the hilt. They brought the EOD down there after we had already, you know, collected the evidence and taken the thing apart. They played it out for another 8 hours. Well, the depot was under our construction project at the time, costing thousands and thousands of dollars a day, and the commander of the depot, wanting to play this thing out because his boss was there and this was big news stuff, kept it out of the information loop that it was a hoax until some time later. Certainly not that day. And kept all the construction workers out of the area even after we solved the problem very early in the morning. The point is that I refused to take part in it, and I went back to the north area. Well, the contractor was held accountable for all that closed time that day, the entire day, 8 hours instead of the hour and a half or so that this thing took place. And the commander of the depot tried to get them to pay for that. Well, of course, a big court battle ensued, and I was called in as a witness against the government, against the depot, against the Army. I was an Army officer at the time, but I was subpoenaed into court. Well, they asked me about this, and I plainly told them. I went up to the commander of the depot. I told him it was a hoax. We had a suspect. The bomb was duct sealed and a car battery and one wire. And we had an admission, and everything was done, and everybody could have gone back to work. And the contractor could have been responsible for, okay, 2 hours or maybe even the entire morning, but not the 8 hours of the whole day. You know what the judge said? Said, Lieutenant Potter, you shouldn't be embarrassing the government. I don't want to embarrass the government here. Well, I'm sorry, but it deserved to be embarrassed just as it does now. At least these aspects of the government. The CIA, the FBI, McCain, duped, takes this thing to the FBI and says, look at this. You know, McCain, you are a dirty little bastard. You really are. You know, I'm going to say something about you. Is it really true, McCain, that your wife who was dying of cancer, you divorced her and then married the lady you're with now? Did you really do that to your poor wife? Did you really? Oh, you care so much about people. You really do. And you put your arms around, what? Al-Qaeda and ISIS rebels? That's what they really are. They're actually Islamic terrorists. I mean, we could go on and on about you, McCain, but you know what? If the people of Arizona want to keep putting you in there, that's really bad. They deserve what they get. The only thing bad is the rest of us have to suffer through your ignoramus actions. I wasn't going to get mad this video, but sometimes I can't help myself. So anyway, I tweeted this information out last night. For those of you who are following me on Twitter, it's at Royston Potter. I'll try to put it up on the video if I can again. It's on the previous one to this. At any rate, I tweeted it out, what was going on, and then of course, we find out that the whole thing was a fake, and that CNN and BuzzFeed and the CIA and the FBI all got dragged into this thing. Gee, some of the other news media knew that this thing was questionable, but our CIA fell for it? They probably were the ones that said, hey, look at this. Let's put this in there. This will really do, because we're at war with Trump. He's somebody that we don't want because he's going against everything we've been doing to try to, get this country turned around into a tyranny, an autocratic tyranny under the NWO, feudal system. Mind control, know everything you do 100% of the time, all day long, all year long. 1984, Brave New World, etc., etc. We know who you guys are. Anybody who's awake knows what you're doing. No, I don't like the CIA. Never have, never will. One thing about this whole golden showers deal and all that is it is another thing, just like the Russian hacking story and all that, which they didn't hack anything. The American people just got sick and tired of Hillary Clinton and the corruption she was in. Oh, but that can't be true. They must have been influenced by somebody else. Oh, it must have been the Russians. Yeah, let's blame the Russians. No, it's just the fact that we're sick and tired of corruption in the government. We know you're there. You can try to whitewash everything that you want to, but it's now it's even, hey, the deeper you dig that pit, you rascals, the farther you're going to fall into it. And it's great to see. So anyway, they're trying to pull us away from the content again of those WikiLeaks, the DC leaks, the whole thing that came out about the email scandal and the Podesta deal and all of that. And I want to point out, because this is really important, we haven't heard much about the Abedin and Wiener computer laptop that had those 600,000 emails on it that the NYPD has. Where are you, NYPD? It's time to download this. To hell with what the Justice Department has threatened you with. Go after these guys. Spill the beans. I wish I was in charge, but I'm not really a strategist. I'm more a tactician. So okay, I'm going to sit back and wait on this and see what's going on. The war against Trump is really what the CIA is doing. It's conducting a war against Trump, who represents the awakening of the American people to their scandals, to their crimes, to their treason, to their debaucheries, to everything that they have done for the last 60-something years. All right? I want to say it again. The CIA and the powers that be, the war on Trump is actually a war on the American people to try to get them to not awaken completely to the treason and the crimes that have been committed against them and against the people in the world by these power-hungry, sociopathic, egomaniacs. Almost said that wrong. Okay, enough on that. Again, I tweeted the information out. If you want to go to @RoystonPotter on Twitter, you can. This is actually more information, but there's some other things compiled there you might find interesting. Okay, I've been listening to some Christian ministers lately, and frankly, as most of you know who have ever followed me through this, I consider myself to be a Jamesian Christian. I'm not, I don't like to say I'm of one group or another, but I only bring this up because of what's transpiring here. And I'm not going to name names, just say that by their fruits you shall know them. And there are a lot of them out there that just, ooze and gaga all over the government. Really? Well, let me say this about what's going on. The way the gospel has been preached, and the gospel really just means good news. All right, that's really all it means. In Hebrew, it would be more or less the perfect law of liberty. If you know the truth will make you free. The gospel's about freedom, about liberty, about having the chains of especially tyrannical, corrupt law taken off of us. So what is really being preached around the world today? What is being preached? What are the people responding to? The Brexit, Italy wanting to pull out of the EU, the people in China revolting against the horrible conditions they're under and the tyrannical government that's there. Russia's actually pretty good these days. The only reason why our leaders want to complain about Russia is because, first of all, they want a scapegoat. Second of all, they want to try to take over the Russian economy completely. And third, they want everything to go to China because that's where they put all their investments the last 30 years or so. Go look it up. You think Bush has any investments here? No, his investments are in China. I could bank on it. Or at least, Chinese companies. So anyway, the point is what really is being preached? What are people responding to? What have they been responding to for the last 2,000 years? What did the world see in 1776 that made America such a shining example to the world despite the other faults that it had? The concept of liberty, of personal freedom, of cutting those chains from an all-controlling, tyrannical, autocratic, feudal system. That's what the freedom is that is being awakened in the world today. I'm a little sad that, still we're talking about, I'd say probably around 35 to 40% of the people that voted for Hillary Clinton. It wasn't 50-50 or anywhere close, or even in the popular voter. She didn't get more. That was all stolen. Okay, we're not even going to argue about that here because it's kind of irrelevant really to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are still a lot of, and I'm going to call you progressives and you liberals who want everything for yourself but deny it for everybody else. You're pretend humanitarians who are really tyrants. We need to look at you as evil. Evil. Spelled the other way, it's live, and I'm sure you've heard that before. Live is L-I-V-E. The opposite of living is what? Evil. You want to stop the living of the common people, whether you realize it or not. You're evil. You're evil. And we have to look at you as the enemy of life. We have to do that. And everything you do, the fruits of your trees prove who you are. And we just have to admit it to ourselves. Know that we're actually facing an enemy that opposes real, honest life. So the gospel is being preached. It's being awakened in the hearts of the people. The hope, the dream of liberty. And God is doing it. Tough luck, CIA. Tough luck. We know who you are. You really showed yourselves this time out here.